Bonjour, good morning. It is freezing. Wednesday the 22nd of January 2020, and today I'll be taking a Ouigo from Marne la Vallée Chessy to Marseille, which is in the south of France. And Marne la Vallée is in the outskirts of Paris. Actually, this is the railway station for the Disneyland resort in Paris. As always, I will show you the station where I'm departing from first. After that I'll show you the train, and after that I'll show you some views from the train. Anyway, enjoy the video. Right in the heart of Eurodisney paradise in Paris, you'll find the railway station of Marne la Vallée Chessy. When you want to leave the station to go, for example, to Planet Hollywood or McDonald's, you have to go through security, as you can see here. Since I had a bottle of wine in my bag, I wasn't allowed to pass. Next to the railway station, you'll find the tourist information. And another thing you'll find next to the railway station is a taxi stand. Right across the taxi stand you'll find a big bus station. Also many Disney shuttle buses do stop here. But I'm not here to go to Disneyland. I am here to take a train. I arrived in this morning by a Thalys train from the Netherlands, and my next train will go from here as well. So before I show you the train, I show you the station. The station is located on the outskirts of Paris, so this is a good place when you want to rent a car. So you'll also find some car rental companies here. And of course you'll also find a ticket desk. Although I strongly recommend you to buy tickets in advance when you're traveling on long distance trains in France. Just like many railway stations in France and also in other countries, you'll find a piano here. Well, it was pretty cold when I shot this, so nobody was feeling like playing it. Directions are clearly given in the railway station. Everything is of course in French and also in English. Just like in many high-speed railway stations in France, there's also information in a third language. In this railway station it is in German. Although they made some spelling mistakes on some parts of the indications. For example here, Waterraum. I do know Warteraum, but not Waterraum. I am Dutch, so I'm not German, but I do speak German. Just like many Dutch people do speak German, by the way. Just like pretty much all railway stations in France, you'll find lots of screens with information about departing trains. You'll also find quite a lot of screens with information about arriving trains. Well, there are just slightly less of those screens. This station is also able to serve Eurostar trains. Well, when you're traveling with a Eurostar you have to go through customs first, and at the first deck they made a special area where custom formalities can take place. I'll show you the upper deck later on in this video. According to the signs, the check-in for the Ouigo trains also takes place at the upper decks. Well, maybe this is in the summertime when it's really busy, but my check-in was just at the lower, well, normal deck, the ground floor. Personally, I wouldn't categorize this railway station as pretty, but it's really practical. And you'll find quite a lot of basic facilities. It's not a station with a lot of facilities. Apart from the high-speed line, so the high-speed trains, you also find RER trains that do stop here. Most shops are near the entrance of the RER trains. Throughout the stations, directions are very clearly given where you have to go to the RER trains. Well, the RER is something like between a local train and a subway train. I guess it's most comparable with the S-Bahn in Germany or the Cercanías in Spain. Near the entrances of the RER you'll find lots of vending machines to buy tickets, but when you rather buy a ticket at a counter and, well, you're being helped by a person, you'll find lots of ticket desks here as well. At this part of the railway station you'll also find quite a lot of screens with route information about the RER trains. Apart from that, clear directions with line maps are also given here. All RER stations do have access gates. Near the RER station you'll also find a small supermarket, and throughout the railway station you find quite a lot of vending machines. And also at the part of the railway station where you find the RER trains, there's also a small bakery. Because Ouigo trains don't have a dining car, I advise you to buy something in advance. Time to show you the last things of the high-speed part of this railway station. One thing I really like was this kind of cardio things that were in the railway station. Well, it's a nice and entertaining way when you have to wait for the train. You'll also find some spots at the station where you can just sit and charge your phone. And for cold winter days, there's also a heater. You'll also find one warm waiting area with a small playground. Well, I didn't film there because it was really busy. Free Wi-Fi is provided throughout the station. From the upper decks you have a great view on the railway station, as you can see here. At the upper decks you also find some extra waiting areas. When you want to leave your luggage here, for example when you want to go for a day to Disneyland, you can leave your luggage at the luggage storage. Custom formalities for Eurostar passengers can also take place at the upper decks. Another thing you'll find at the upper decks is the Disney Express. When you arrive here by train, you can leave your luggage here and your luggage will be brought to your Disney hotel, so you can go into the Disney theme park right away. For a railway station that's not that stunning, I think I gave you an awful lot of information. Time to go to the train. I didn't film the check-in process of the Ouigo because my camera was refusing. Your ticket will be scanned and they will also take a close look on your luggage. You are allowed to take some luggage with you, but when you want to take extra luggage, you need to pay for this. When you do this in advance, you pay €5, and when you don't pay extra, they might charge you €20 per luggage item at the railway station. Just like all over the station, the information at the platforms is really good. As you can see here, there's a map of the train where you can see what carriage will stop where at the platform. Apart from these screens, you also see special composition screens, like pretty much in all high-speed stations in France. The letters where they will refer to can be found at the platform, like F you can see here. Time to show you the train. Before I show you the interior, I will explain you a little bit more about the Ouigo trains. Here you can see a map of the Ouigo destinations. This is a map that came from the Ouigo website. As you can see, these trains only stay within France. They don't go on international journeys. They do get close to the borders with Belgium and Germany though. These trains are being sold as the more budget-friendly way of train traveling within France. And yes, that's true. Ticket prices will start at only €10 per ride. And I also paid this for my ride. And this is really cheap, especially considering the distance it takes. But the ticket prices will go up as the demand for passengers is growing on a specific route. When you're traveling on really popular dates, the prices are not that much lower than the normal TCV in Ouigo trains. Ouigo tickets can only be bought at the website of ouigo.com. And this is really a pity, because when you're not known with train traveling in France, it just makes it more difficult for you to book train tickets. Well, in general this is not a big thing when this would be a different company, but the Ouigo trains are being run by the same state-owned railway company that runs the other high-speed lines and all regional lines. Apart from that, these trains don't show up in the international timetable called HAVAS. And this is really a pity, because Flixtrain, for example, in Germany does pop up in this. And Flixtrain has some great ambitions for train traveling in France. At this moment, some Inouï TCV trains will be replaced by Ouigo trains. Well, when you replace 1 or 2 trains a day on a really busy route, I think that's okay. But when you replace a lot of trains and you make it more difficult for people who go on an international journey to book a specific route, I don't think that this is a good development. In any other case, when your train has a delay when you make an international journey, you can just be booked on the next train. This is not the case when you're traveling on a Ouigo train. For these lower prices there will be some compromises, and apart from these compromises there will be some other compromises for you as a traveler as well. I will explain you here. Some of the compromises are: you can book tickets way in advance. It's depending a little bit on the route, but in general about 9 months in advance. But you will only get your ticket 4 days prior departure. Tickets on long distance trains in France always include a seat reservation. By sending the tickets about 4 days prior departure, they can make the train as efficient as possible by spreading out people on the railway station by getting on and getting off the train, so not everybody is rushing into the same carriage. One of the biggest advantages of traveling by train is that you can take a lot of luggage with you. That's not the case when you're traveling with a Ouigo. Well, of course you can take extra luggage with you, but you need to pay for this. On top of the regular, suitcases you can take, you need to pay €5 extra for every extra suitcase. You can book extra luggage until 4 hours prior departure. When you do this online within 4 hours prior departure, you pay €10. And when you haven't booked any extra luggage and you have extra luggage with you, you pay €20 per item at the railway station. Another thing that's really common on TCV in Ouigo trains, so not the budget version, is having power plugs. At these trains it's not common to have a power plug. When you want a power plug, you just pay extra. The same thing for information by SMS, so train number, ticket number, etc. When you want to have this by SMS, you pay €1 extra per ticket. But I just use the Ouigo app for this. And this works all perfect. Just like what I mentioned earlier, you need to be at the railway station 30 minutes prior departure and then the check-in process will start. So, before the train arrives, all tickets have been checked and they know the train is good to go. The trains that are being used for Ouigo services are former InWe or TCV trains. On the outside of each carriage it has been clearly marked what the carriage number is, the train number and the destination. And all Ouigo trains are double-deck trains. When you enter the train, it has been clearly marked where you can find what seat numbers. Despite the fact that these trains only come in one class, there are some slightly differences between the different carriages. Seat numbers can be found above the windows and below the overhead luggage racks. The overhead luggage racks that can be found throughout the train are not big, because this is a double-deck train. But between the carriages, but also sometimes within the open compartments, you'll find some extra space for your luggage. The biggest part of the train will come in a 2x2 configuration, so 2 seats on both sides of the aisle. When you want to walk through the train, you have to do this at the upper decks, because the lower decks do have a dead end. At the location where you find the former first class, the train composition is a little bit different. The chairs do come in a 3x1 configuration, so 3 seats on one side of the aisle and 1 seat on the other side. Most chairs come in a composition like this. You find quite a big fold-out table in the chair in front of you. I'm surprised by the size. It's not wide, but it's very long. And well, that's basically it. You can't recline the seats, there are no footrests, and there's no reading lights. However, all windows do have a sunscreen, and at many places you'll find a coat hanger. You'll also find some chairs facing each other with a table in between, where you can fold this table out to make it a little bit bigger. When you paid extra for a chair with power plugs, you'll find the power plugs between the chairs in front of you. In the carriage that used to host the dining car, you'll find 24 extra chairs, so for extra seating capacity. The location where the old, bar used to be is now a place for the staff of the train. When you have any questions, you can just go here and ask them. Between the carriages you'll find 2 extra seats, and these are the only seats that do have reading lights. They do have a seat number as well, but I don't know if they can be reserved. For the rest, this is a no-nonsense train. There are no information screens, there's no free Wi-Fi, it's just a train that takes you from point A to point B. That's it. By the way, you won't find a garbage can near the chairs, you'll find garbage cans between the compartments in the luggage racks. Just like in the newer TCV in Ouigo trains. I do have a trip report on one of them on the route from Hendaye to Paris. And by the newer TCV in Ouigo, I don't mean this specific train. This one will be in service from 2023. A great thing for traveling with babies is that you'll find a nursery space for babies in French high-speed trains. Well, this is no exception on the Ouigo budget train. I think this is really handy and I think it's good that they kept this. toilets can be found at both the upper and the lower decks, while the toilets on the upper decks are a little bit more narrow than on the lower decks, as you can see here, but in general they're fine and the toilets were kept pretty clean during the way. For the last part of this video I will show you some views I had from the train, and I will give my personal opinion about this train. In a way, I really like these trains. I mean, the starting prices are really low and they are a good addition to the regular TCV in We trains. As long as these trains run in an addition to the regular TCV in We trains, I think this is good. But at this moment, some services are being replaced by TCV Ouigo trains as well. And again, if you replace some services, it's fine. But passenger rights are just lower on these trains. And from a commercial point of view, first class makes most money for railway companies, so why leave this out? These trains make it easier for people to travel on long distances in France, but when you go on an international journey, these trains make it more difficult for you to book tickets right now. Mainly because these trains don't show up in the international timetable, so it seems like there are just less connections within France. And especially in a time where more people are aware of the impact of flying on the environment and taking the train instead of the plane, I don't think that this is a good development. And especially not when you consider that these Ouigo trains are run by the same state-owned railway company that runs the non-budget high-speed trains. Something that is a good development is that on national long-distance trains the capacity is much higher and the prices are lower as well. I do have a mixed love and hate relationship with these trains. In a way, I think these trains are a strategy of the French railway company to keep competitors out, because soon the railway market in France will be open to new companies as well. And on some small routes they already have competition from Trenitalia under the name called Thello. The same thing happened already in Italy, and the French railway company was one of the competitors of Trenitalia, the state-owned railway company in Italy. This is a rather difficult subject and I already went too deep in this, so I'll just end this video from here because I'm in Marseille. So temperatures are way better down south in Marseille. Anyway, I hope you liked this video, and when you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And in general, as always, when you like to see more travel reports by train, subscribe to my channel. When you want to see more of the station in Marseille in France, check out my video at the Thello train from Marseille to Genova. See you in my next video.